So when people talk about burnout, they're referring to things like feeling too overwhelmed to have focus and clarity. They don't know where to turn, they don't know what to do. They're talking about exhaustion, not having the energy or the drive or the motivation. They're talking about brain fog and lack of clarity and lack of drive. There's all different ways to describe burnout, and none of them are particularly useful to me. So if we have a conversation, or I'm having a conversation with a client, and it's all about how tired they are and how burnt out they are and how overwhelmed they are, I think one of the most useless things I could then do as a coach would be the typical, let's set smart goals. Let's take some things off your plate. Let's focus on what it's going to do and reorganize your time, because it doesn't solve the underlying problem. And the underlying problem is the results are not matching the effort that the entrepreneur is putting in, and therefore they don't have the resources and support to go the distance. That's what I think burnout is. I think burnout is you're pushing and you're trying and you're striving and you're working on so many different things at once. The result isn't coming. So what happens there is you don't then get the resources you need in order to be able to afford the break or feel like you deserve a break. And also they don't feel the hope and the dopamine and the reward feeling, as in, this is worth it, this is working, this is happening, and they can't continue. And so everything in their body says, you're wasting energy, you're wasting our resources, you need to stop, shut down, shut the down. Is that not the true definition of burnout? So when people say, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, yes, you're describing symptoms, but we can never change a problem by fixing the symptoms. We have to go to the underlying cause. And I'll tell you what I think the underlying cause is, seeing as I'm on my high horse and we're away with it. I think the underlying cause is you didn't really want the goal, or you do really want the goal, but you don't really know what it takes, or you want the goal, you know what it takes, and you're not really doing the work. You're pretending to do the work. So some of the things that lead to burnout in my mind are, number one, you're working towards a goal that you just don't care about. This is an awful thing to say, but I used to have this really big marketing agency and I didn't want it. I didn't want that work. I didn't want those conversations. I didn't want the stress. I had a team of 9 people, I think, by the time I shut it down. Didn't want it. I called it depression. I called it depression because it felt like I didn't want to be present where I was. I was depressing my personality every single day because I didn't want to be present in the life that I built. Me calling it depression, I could have called it overwhelm or burnout. All of those words resonated with me at that time. Basically, I didn't want what I was building, and humans need meaning. They need a sense of purpose. They need to know that their actions matter, that what they're doing is building towards something. So the first thing you've got to do is check in and ask, do I actually want what I'm building, what I'm working towards? Or even better, scrap that question and ask, what do I want? A question I love to ask myself in my journals all of the time, not just at the start of a new year or a new quarter. I always ask, Lisa, what are you trying to do here and why do you care? What are you trying to do here and why do you care? The second underlying cause of burnout is people aren't really doing what it takes, so they're never going to get there. I think entrepreneurs have a really bizarre habit of setting a goal that is stupid, full stop, and they literally don't have the skills, capacity, time, energy, drive, resources to hit it. And so what they're doing is they're skirting around the edges, doing the bare minimum or doing actions they think are going to get them there, and they're never going to get them there. In my mind, what we want to do is set a sensibly stupid goal, meaning as an entrepreneur, of course, your goal is going to be ridiculous and ambitious and beyond the realm of what's normal for the people around you. That's okay. Let's just add a little bit of sensibility within it and say, instead of trying to do this in a year, I know it's actually going to take 5 years. Or instead of trying to deliver all of this in the first quarter, I'm going to break it down into individual projects and deliver one thing well each quarter. And then critically, we want to look at the one true action that's associated with that result and make sure we're actually doing the work. A classic example of this is sales. When people say to me, I'm not selling, and I say, well, how many times did you try? I'm always trying, I'm always selling, I'm always posting. Yes, but how many times did you send people to a sales page? How many webinars have you run? How many discovery calls are you setting up? Well, you see, the thing is, and I think, of course, you're not selling. You're not actually selling. That'll be why you're not selling. So if you want to make more sales, you've got to do more sales activities and not more marketing activities. And the third underlying reason is not having the resources you need to actually go the distance. So when people are trying to set a new goal, the most obvious thing that they do is split it in two and think, what are the steps? And the other thing they do is they think, how does my mindset need to change? Because these are the two most obvious things people who make content like this talk about, right? What's your goal? Break it down. What are the steps? What are the projects? Map it out, plan it out. Here's a planner, download my planner, right? All of that kind of thing. And the other thing is change your mindset, change your beliefs, work on your subconscious. Yes. But they're missing 3 fundamental elements that most people don't even think to ask themselves. They are, number 1, what new skills do I need to develop? A lot of people are attempting something and they literally haven't got the skill set they need to pull it off and even attempt it. So what's the skill set? The second thing is, how does my capacity need to increase? You'll see me talk about this a lot. I do think entrepreneurs have to take on an immense amount of pressure and uncertainty and work. The only way they're going to be able to do that is by increasing their capacity to handle that stress, that pressure, and that amount of deliverables. You can't let the work increase and not grow to match it, or let the work increase and increase your capacity to manage those projects and outsource them to the right people at the right time. So the next thing on the list is to think about, how can I increase my capacity? And the third one is energy. What energy will I need to see this through? And this is where I have to giggle, because when I talk to people and I say, cool, how's your sleep? Oh, I don't sleep. I get up early, I go to bed late. Okay. And how's your diet? Yeah, I keep meaning to get to that. And are you working out? Are you walking? No, I do normally, but... And I think to myself, this is amateur and this is the problem. But there's nothing wrong with that. There are levels that come with levels of success. And whatever level of success you want, you have to go up the level. So I said there were 5 altogether. I'm looking at a sheet here I've got. This is how I break down my goals, review my year, and set goals for the new year. So I'm actually going to include this as a download in the show notes.